All right, this is Todd Atkins, and I'm here with Art Ayala. We're going to do another boxing episode for people that watched the last one. And we're going to talk about Lomachenko versus Haney, which is coming up tomorrow on ESPN pay-per-view. And before we start, I have my sponsor, Live to Fight Design. If you use my name, you can see the promo code up there. You can get $20 off your order if you want a fight banner or gym banner. And Art, since we're going to start into Lomachenko Haney, I think I'd do similar to the last time. Maybe we'll talk about each guy, kind of what their strengths are. So let's kind of start with Haney first.
As far as Haney, I think he's still developing as a fighter. He showed that he's getting stronger in his last two fights with Kambosos, because before that, and it's not just me, a lot of people just don't like that he doesn't have that power, and a lot of fighters, uh, a lot of fans don't like to see that in fighters, and they like to bash them. But from what I saw in the Kambosos fight, I think he's starting to develop some power, because he had Kambosos hesitating to just blitz in there, which really surprised me, because I thought Kambosos was going to win because of what he did with Lopez, and Lopez is a very strong puncher. But Haney had Kambosos respecting his power. I think he has a very sharp jab. So
And
as far as strengths, it might be his how busy he is in the ring, his youth, his jab, and his speed.
now let's kind of talk about Lomachenko. Shifting over to him, what do you think are his strengths?
As far as Lomachenko, his angles and his boxing IQ. Um, he, I mean, he's done a lot for the amount of professional fights he has. Um, he, from what I saw in the Lopez fight, I think he followed this plan where he wanted to attack Lopez in the mid rounds, and he took the fight to Lopez, and he's a smaller guy. So I mean, and then the way I see it, I don't know if it's just show, but it seems like Haney's is not is it might be underestimating Lomachenko, and that's going to be a big mistake on his part, because I think Lomachenko has the tools necessary. From other fighters' interviews, they say that he's hard to hit, and he's evasive, but I think Lomachenko has the IQ, the angles, and the tools to close that distance and pop Haney.
Now, if Haney was going to win this fight, how would you see him doing it?
I could I I would be surprised, but if he's gonna win, I think it's gonna be outpointing, and I didn't like that I saw Bob Arum talking about Josh Taylor being a good opponent for Haney, almost like predicting a win. So with that, I would go as far as to say maybe a controversial win by the judges, because I don't understand why they're looking past Lomachenko.
So you think it wouldn't be to where he was dominant? You don't see that happening.
I don't see it. Even though he's a bigger guy, I just think Lomachenko is far way too experienced. All those fights he's had as an amateur, he's seen every style there is, or almost all. I mean, what is it, 400 plus fights? And then just in the fashion he's dominated some good fighters, that like Gary Russell Jr., real good fighter. He Lomachenko just dominated him. Ringerdale made him quit, frustrated him, made Nicholas Walters quit. I mean, I think he was one dimensional, but if it hadn't been for Lomachenko, I think Nicholas Walters would have had a nice little run after he defeated Nonito Donaire. But Lomachenko just went in there and just completely took his soul. He made him quit.
Now, if Lomachenko were to win the fight, how do you think it would go?
I'm predicting. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think Lomachenko is gonna stop Haney.
How long into the fight do you think it'll take him?
I think Haney's young and strong, so he might use a. It, what I'm thinking is he might use a similar plan that he did with Teofimo. Try to wear them down for the first 6 rounds. He did say that I think if I remember correctly that he regrets starting late in the Teofimo fight. So he might switch it up and start a little bit earlier. And especially since Haney is not known for his power, he's strong, but he doesn't have the power Lopez had. And so I think Lomachenko had no choice but to respect and hold off on Lopez.
Now, do you think I'm trying to say how to for people that were saying that Lomachenko's last fight he didn't look his best, what would you say? Like, is he? You think you just seeing him rise to the occasion? Is that what you're saying?
On Lomachenko, I didn't like the way he looked, but um, as far as boxing, a lot plays into it, like including lifestyle. He did go like his country is going through that war. He went back home for a while. He took some time off, but before that fight, he looked real good against Comey. He stopped him, and Comey's a bigger guy. And like I said, once Lomachenko sees a weakness in his opponent, or they slow down just a bit, he brings the fight to him. And he's a smaller guy, so he has a lot of fight in him. Another thing is that I was thinking uh maybe he purposely, but it almost looked like he was losing the fight, but maybe he purposely kind of did bad to kind of secure the fight.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good theory. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time someone's done that, but yeah. Bringing up the war and everything, it is hard to imagine him and Usyk, like, how they could focus on what they're supposed to do given what's happening.
Oh yeah, I mean some fighters, they get distracted by problems outside, and then some of them have the ability to use it and drive them through the fight and bring something out of them. I remember me and Derek discussing Fury versus Wilder when it first got announced. I think it was set for December 2019, and I was telling Derek, I said Fury's coming from depression, and from his interviews, he said he was on the brink of suicide. And I said, a man like that, you can't underestimate. He has nothing to lose. And then that's when I think, what was it, the draw in the first fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying that do you think the fight's gonna be kind of competitive until Lomachenko stops them, or do you think
Oh,
Lomachenko's gonna
I think
be the dominant?
I don't think he's gonna dominate him, but I do feel Lomachenko's gonna get the win. Because Haney, he's very athletic, and I said this to somebody else. I think it's just the timing's off. It to me it has a feel like almost like uh Canelo versus Mayweather. Mayweather still was in a stage in his life where he was very competitive, and then Canelo hadn't peaked, in my opinion. Another fight that uh, to me it kind of feels the same as when I think was it Raymond Mancini. He was a very good up and coming fighter, but he just faced another very good fighter, that a great fighter that just wasn't ready to uh to be defeated, which I think was Alexis Arguello. And I feel this is what's happening right now. I think maybe in 1 or 2 more years, when Haney develops a little bit more as a fighter, he can win. But I just don't feel the time is now.
What do you think about kind of Haney, how he's approaching Lomachenko? Like you said, you think he's dismissing him, and he does seem pretty brash all the time.
I think he went low, because he comes off as a respectful kid, and I think he's trying to maybe go into character to sell fights. I'm all for selling fights, but I think Lomachenko is a fighter you got to respect. He, like I said, he's done a lot in a few fights, and I think he's gonna go down as a top fighter. So I mean, I didn't like the fact how he pushed him. I think it was low. He went low.
Yeah, but it almost seems like everybody does that now. It's kind of like boring almost.
Yeah. Um, and I mentioned it in a thread how it seems like Tank always finds some drama. I mean, he doesn't have to resort to I think the violence before the fight, but there's always something big going on with Tank, like when he was gonna leave Mayweather and TMT, and then he was facing jail time, and so I think Tank's found a very good way to sell fights. There's always some drama involved right before the fight, or the other fight where he said he didn't care anymore if he won or not. I think against what was it, Hector, or that opponent he fought right before Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Garcia, what do you think about him switching coaches?
It seems like he's trying to blame everybody but himself, And then I mean, Eddie Reynoso just said it in an interview that Ryan's been the hardest fighter he's ever had to work with because he's not fully into boxing. I think his fast rise in social media kind of gave him a different start where he doesn't have to grind like other fighters. So he's not fully committed. I think part of him is into the limelight, and then the social media, and then the other part is into boxing, and his speed isn't enough to get him through the tougher fights.
So
So he's blaming. Hmm?
You don't think it's going to have a big impact that you switch trainers?
No, I think he needs to put in the work like every other fighter, no matter how fast he is or talented.
Yeah. What do you think of Canelo's last fight?
Um, I think people are being a little bit hard on him. I mean, he did dominate his opponent the whole time, and then uh, people are saying he's past his prime, he's washed up, all this nonsense. I mean, he's no matter what, he's still above his natural. He's a small super middleweight. He's almost as tall as some of these welters, and then maybe what Ryder maybe just has a really tough chin. I think he's been stopped before, but you know it could have been due to things outside before the fight. And I mean, he dominated his opponent. He was ranked by the WBA, but some people just like to you know hate on Canelo.
Now, we just saw Ngannou, he signed with PFL, but now he's kind of getting into the boxing talk. I don't know how much you followed that, but you see Tyson Fury like bringing his name back up. Do you think that's going to go anywhere? Or
Oh man, I think that would be like a cash grab, almost like McGregor Mayweather. Uh, I don't see him beating Tyson Fury.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like I was talking about this with Miguel. Do they want him to box before going to PFL? And if he does, how important is it that he wins or loses? Because I would think they would want him to win if he does box before going to PFL. To have him lose
Oh
would
yeah,
kind of take some of the luster off of him, I would think.
his stock would definitely drop, um, especially if he were to get knocked out. But I mean, it's still him. He still has a big following, and then but his stock would definitely drop. I think if he were to lose or especially get knocked out by any boxer.
Yeah, but if he's not going to fight in PFL till 2024, you got to do something with him before then.
I
I
think
would think. I would think.
maybe they should just beat him, you know, uh, low level contenders just to kind of keep his name in the mix, and then maybe if they keep bringing up Tyson Fury, just attach his name to it just to bring some attention to him, and then just keep feeding him contenders that he can easily beat.
Yeah, that's what I would think would do, but it doesn't seem like that's what he wants to do. You know,
Do you think he's hard to work with?
I don't know, but I think your stance would be better. Like if they got him with the promoter, maybe he fights one time before PFL, or maybe even twice against low level contenders. That would be perfect. Then you let him fight in PFL, and then if he wants to go do whatever, all right.
That way he maximizes his earnings, because it seems that that's what he's really after. Which is good for him. If he can make a lot of money, then good for him.
Yeah. Now, what's some of the other boxing matches you've had your eye on?
Uh, Rolly and Ryan Garcia.
Oh,
I
really? You
think
think
that
it's going
that
to happen?
I think I think they got something to work with. I think Rolly is with TMT with Mayweather, and Ryan is he leaving Oscar or any? I haven't been keeping up as far as what he's gonna do
Mhm.
with promotional wise.
What do you think of Rolly's last, the controversial fight? What happened there?
Oh man, Rolly had a win, and I think the ref got the memo that Rolly's got to win.
Yeah, but I think that one wasn't. If they were doing that, they did a poor job of it because that was just way too early.
Yeah, I wonder what Week saw. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they got to start interviewing the refs after these controversial stops, just to for them to explain to the people what they saw that made them stop the fight, because it leaves a bad taste in fans, when they see stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, are you interested in Inouye Fulton at all? Have you been following Inouye much?
The what?
Inouye versus Fulton, which I think is in July.
Oh, I haven't, but I, I I'm a little bit familiar. I haven't seen many of his fights, but I know a little bit of in anyone.
Yeah, because they're saying that's like was his biggest fight so far is this fight
And it's
against
in
Fulton.
Japan, right?
Yeah,
And he's jumping up one weight class.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to tune in. What when is that fight?
It's in July. I want to say maybe the not long after the 4th, I think. I don't remember the exact date, but it's in July.
All right,
Yeah.
it should be good. I mean, he Inoue beat Donaire twice, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard his name, but I haven't sat down and watched. like the fights.
Yeah, Teddy Atlas is always really complimentary of Inoue. You know, he feels like he's one of the most talented boxers in boxing, but because he's in Japan, people don't see him much.
Is he with Top Rank?
uh that I'm not sure. I know that Tension is. So I don't
Hmm.
yeah. I think he might be. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah. Now, getting back to Haney versus Lomachenko, let's talk about like if Haney wins, where does he go?
Um, like I said, Bob Arum was talking about making him jump a weight class for Josh Taylor, and I don't see why. I mean, I like to see I like to see fighters defend their belts like for a few fights and then do the jump. Um, but maybe from a promoter's point of view, Bob just sees what fights will generate more money and maybe a jump. But I also like that because it places Haney versus Teofimo. Um, and I always thought Lopez would beat Haney, but it just seems like after he beat Lomachenko, like he lost his hunger to be a to be the best fighter, and then that's when he lost his belts to Kambosos. He didn't rematch him. He moved up. He didn't look too good. I don't know. I just but that weight jump for Haney will place him versus Lopez if Lopez can actually get past Josh Taylor. I think they're set to fight, right?
Now, if Lomachenko wins, what would he do you think?
Hmm. Maybe Tank.
Yeah, that would be a
That'll be
big
a good
fight.
fight.
Yeah.
Because I remember they were talking about Tank versus Lomachenko, and I think this was a strategy, a promotional strategy that Mayweather and maybe in his team like doing where they attach their fighter's name to a bigger fighter just to start building them up. And they were talking about Tank versus Lomachenko when Tank fought Pedraza and he won the IBF. So this is a while ago. So I would want to see that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and what was Tank's sentence? What he get, like 90 days house arrest or something like that?
Oh yeah, it was light, and I don't know, man. They got some good lawyers, and then he also has what's his name? I think Al Heyman. So I'm sure Al Heyman knows a lot of people. So just like when the Ghost Robert the Ghost Guerrero I think he had a firearm in the airport right before the Mayweather fight, and I don't know. We just never heard it. Well, I didn't hear anything of what happened, but it was before the fight. So if he would have got sentenced and gone away, the fight would have been called off. But I mean, maybe he got to pay a fine or something. So
Yeah,
they
I
got
thought
these.
I thought he would get time, but he's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, he did a lot too, right? Tank did.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the video, like he got in a crash, then he came back to the scene, took some stuff, left again, you know. So yeah, I was pretty surprised that they let him off that light.
And then they kept. It happened in 2020, right? So they waited a long time. So maybe
That's what
that
they
helped.
do, you know. Guys that have like
Yeah,
high-powered lawyers, they delay, 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 delay. Yeah.
and then they just get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Uh, But it
Well,
seems
it's
like Tank is cleaning up his act. I mean, he says that he doesn't drink anymore. I think he's 28 now, so maybe he's maturing and he's working on himself. So,
yeah, hopefully so, because I would like to see him fight Lomachenko or yeah,
oh
I
yeah, that'll
think
be
that
a
would be
real good
good.
fight.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
even Haney or Shakur Stevenson. Those are good fights
yeah,
for him too.
for sure. Shakur Stevenson too. Maybe Lomachenko could fight Shakur.
Yeah, I think Shakur beats him. I also think Shakur is also developing as a fighter, and man, he's sharp, and I think there's still room for him to grow because he has a big frame.
But they're both with top rank, so it'd be easy to make the fight, I would think.
Yeah,
If they both
should be
wanted
no
to do
problem.
it, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Well, it's going to be interesting to see this fight tomorrow. Are there any other fights on the card that you're interested in?
Um. Oscar Valdez is fighting. I'm not familiar with who he's fighting, but I just recently saw because I've been working a lot and I've been busy, but I saw the that I think it's going to be the co-main event, Oscar Valdez,
Yeah.
and it's his I think it's his first fight back after being defeated by Shakur Stevenson.
Well, it's going to be an interesting fight tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. And as always, Art, I appreciate you taking time to, kind of break down some of these fights. And maybe you could tell the people that aren't familiar with you kind of what, you know, why you're on my show doing boxing, commentary.
Okay.
No, I mean just as in right now, like, you know, kind of tell them how long you've been following boxing and, you
Oh,
know.
okay. I've been following it. I mean, as far as you know, I think it was like around the times. I think the earliest fight I could remember watching was it Pernell Whitaker versus Julio Cesar Chavez. So ever since then I've always liked boxing. Um, but I really got most of my knowledge around 2007 when uh they had these internet forums and people were just discussing boxing and I was always on them. Everybody was hoping for the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, and then I mean, it didn't happen until 2014, 2015. So I just been following it. These last few years, I kind of fell off keeping up, but I'm trying to keep up with boxing again. And right now, you have all these promotions, and then you got the Zone on the app. So it's a little bit hard to follow when they're all scattered all over, but it's still possible. So.
Well, Art, as always, it's great talking to you, and we'll have to get you and Derek on after this fight's over.
All right, yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely got to catch Derek.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I appreciate you taking time to do it. It's great catching up with you again. And till next time, take care, man.
All right, man.
All right.